Hello, everyone, and welcome to something different.
Yep. So this is going to be our first of, well, if you're familiar with the MCU,
50 plus
many episodes.
situations here.
So this is going to be more just a general review and overview of a Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
As we go on week by week, this will go through the entire MCU. Right now, we're going in release order. So we should preface that, and we're not doing
Yes.
TV shows either at the moment, at least.
At the moment, yeah. That might change when we get to that phase, but
But we'll see.
actively, no TV shows, just the movies. Starting from the beginning, 2008.
Iron Man.
Iron Man. So, the cast, we got, obviously, RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., cast as Tony Stark and Iron Man. You got Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts. You got Terrence Howard as his first and only appearance as Rhodey.
Yep.
Rhodes, whatever you
Jeff
call him.
Bridges is Obadiah Stane.
John Favreau
As
as
Hogan.
Hogan.
He was pretty happy.
Pretty happy.
Because I noticed that when I was watching, where whenever Tony Stark speaks to him, he just calls him Hogan.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, we're not at happy yet.
We're not yet. No.
We're not happy yet.
And then the two other big ones that would be in this movie that kind of carry on through is Paul Bettany, who
Mhm.
is the voice of Jarvis, who eventually becomes Vision. And then first appearance of Clark Gregg as good old Phil Coulson.
Yes. And it's also worth noting that it was directed by Jon Favreau
Yes.
as well.
Which is crazy because you look at like the other movies Jon Favreau's known for, and then you come to this, you're like, this is not giving me the same feel as Elf.
No,
So
definitely not. But in typical his director style, he always is kind of in his own films.
Yeah.
As a little bit more of a nuanced character, like, not important, but there.
mhm.
Obviously, we didn't I don't even know if he realized how important Happy
Well,
Hogan would end up being.
if you look at it, Happy is now the longest living portrayal of a character in the MCU because he was in Deadpool and Wolverine.
oh yeah, I guess he was.
So he has been the one character that is obviously Pepper Potts is in theory still around. You can make the argument about Paul Bettany because he was Jarvis and then becomes Vision.
We don't know what's
but-
going on with Phil Coulson.
Don't know what's going on with Phil Coulson. That's irrelevant.
I'm just saying he is
But I know,
alive.
But as of release order, Happy is at least he's still in the game. But I digress.
So yeah, we're
what are your
let's go through likes, dislikes, favorite moments. I guess this one's tougher because since it is the start of the MCU, hard to truly relate it to the MCU, and we don't want to dive too foreshadow too deep because perhaps maybe somehow this is your first time watching Iron Man and we're talking about it with you, and you haven't seen any other MCU films, so we don't want to go too far ahead. And we'll talk about a few Easter eggs and of course the first of many post-credit scenes.
Exactly. All right, Connor, what did you like about the good old first Iron Man?
Well, first of all, I guess, like you said, film came out in 2008, so it's worth saying it's getting pretty dated at this point.
Yeah.
And I would say that the special effects hold up very well.
I was surprised, to be
didn't
honest.
check out what the budget of the film was. I'm assuming it was probably pretty high. But yeah, the special effects look great. Nothing was very like outstanding. Like you didn't really notice anything that was off-putting or feels like it stood out. And another big thing was we got what will go down as a very continuous theme throughout the MCU, which was a combination of serious, fun, action, but also comedy.
Yeah.
It had
A little bit
everything
of
going
everything,
on.
yeah.
And
it romance a little bit too.
but it handled everything very well.
Yeah.
Like none of the humor felt really out of place. You were, especially with Tony's like more quippy and sarcastic attitude. It all came off as more like, oh, okay, this is what this character's like.
Yeah.
It didn't just feel like jokes for the sake of making a joke. They just felt very natural and flow. So RDJ, I think, was a pretty perfect casting for Tony Stark. In looking at it now, obviously, extremely successful franchise, so makes sense. But there were definitely risks when Marvel casted him.
Oh yeah.
So it was a good calculated risk that worked out. Like I said, special effects hold up. Honestly, it was a pretty good character story following Tony Stark being just this genius, rich playboy, but really not paying attention to what's going on with Stark Industries
Yeah.
at all. Just like, hey, I made this new cool thing that can potentially
Blow stuff up,
yeah,
but bigger.
but yeah, and more technologically advanced,
Yeah.
and just making money off of it, and never realizing where the weapons are going. He just assumed they're going to the right places, like they're just helping American soldiers and whatnot, and
It wasn't.
it wasn't. And he just kind of evolves from him taking responsibility in his own way.
Yep.
And obviously, there's going to be other moments as we go through the trilogy that is Iron Man. But for this film, it almost has its own story going out. Like, very. You could just end Iron Man as a solo film. Like, that's how good the story is for Tony. Other
Yeah.
than keeping all the shards in his body.
Yeah.
That's probably if they had that at the end of the movie, it pretty much wraps up a lot of the story.
Pretty
Like,
well,
there's still
yeah.
obviously issues, but for the most part, it tells a really solid story. Music was great. That's going to be a very common thing through a lot of MCU films, I feel. Just great choices that fit the vibe of the movie.
AC/DC.
Yeah, AC/DC was great. And yeah, like I mentioned, it just had a good mix of all of the things you want to see in a movie. You know, you had suspense, you had parts that made you feel more somber, you had uplifting moments, you had funny moments, some romance. I thought it was really good overall, and it's not surprising that this film did well and started it all.
What we have today.
Yep.
Yeah. Similar to you, I think the music, solid music soundtrack, right? Either from the score and from the songs that were chosen throughout the entire thing. It helped the movie a lot, and it gave you the feel of the movie was with the music. I think that's a terrible way to phrase it, but it's fine.
It was rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right down to the color scheme too, the shots, right? Having the cars in the background.
Hot Rod Red.
Hot Rod, yeah. Give me a little bit of Hot Rod Red in that. Like you said, the special effects surprisingly held up. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of shocked.
They look really good. They might look better than current MCU films, maybe. Like, as we get there, we can compare it.
Honestly, yeah. So casting overall was great. No complaints there. Jeff Bridges was great.
Yeah, I thought I thought he was really good. Yeah.
Such a great character,
and he looks really weird bald. Like, looking now at like some of his other roles, and you're like, man, he looks so different without hair.
But it gives him such an interesting villain feel, and his
He
delivery of
villainous.
lines was really well done. Like at the one moment that stood out to
Tony
me,
Stark built this in a cave.
with a ball. Yeah, that line.
With a
But
box of
also,
scraps.
you compare that line with Jeff Bridges acting, and then you look. I think it's earlier in the movie when Tony goes into the party that he wasn't invited to, and then he finds out like the photos from the news reporter, and he goes up to
and he tells him like,
Stain.
who do you think? Like,
Yeah, he
bought
literally
you out
just
or
puts
whatever?
his arm around him. He's like, "Who do you think kicked you out of the company?" Basically,
Yeah, who's buying?
and I was like, "Dang!" Like that line right there gave me goosebumps.
as they're taking pictures, like nonchalant. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know he's a good villain.
good villain.
I actually read Obadiah Stane's like comic book introduction.
Mhm.
Man's got a messed up backstory.
Oh yeah,
Like, no wonder he's a villain. He was not set up for success. But let's jump into some dislikes.
Oh man, I had one more thing for likes.
Oh, you had another like? What was
yeah,
it?
I
Go
had
ahead.
one more likes. And I messaged you this is I loved the lack of slow motion,
Yeah, there wasn't much.
which was
maybe two.
maybe two scenes, but you don't like this. Just goes to show you, like obviously, I'm easily comparing it to Black Adam. We know what I'm trying to reference here because the overuse of slow motion in that, and even some of the more recent MCU films, feels like slow motion is just to get that runtime up.
But I don't think
Like-
I don't think that's what they care for, to be honest. I don't think. Think about how long MCU films are. People
I
want
know.
them to be shorter. Like
That's what I mean.
But taking out that slow mo is not going to make a 2.5 hour
No,
film.
it's
all
not
going
gonna
to hour
cut-
45 minutes.
No, I'm not saying that, but like you can have a good solid superhero film that has full of explosions, flying characters, fight scenes, and not really have any slow motion, and it doesn't take away from the story.
That's fair. I don't care as long as it's not overused. Like
think that
obviously
was,
Black Adam is overused, but I think a lot of the MCU, I think you're just hyper noticing
Analyzing,
it
yeah.
out. Not like you just notice it more because you're more acute to it because we've seen it used so often.
Yeah,
So you're just noticing it a lot more.
that can make sense, yeah.
But I feel like sometimes that slow motion is also used as to portray speed, and when you have
Oh, yeah,
super speedy
that is different.
characters
Yeah,
and
yeah.
superhuman
That
characters,
makes sense. Like slow
It's-
motion done in Days of Future Past when they go see
like it's just
Quicksilver.
used well, then it can. That's the thing. It has to be used well. And then
Yeah.
this one, I don't even recall any of like the slow motion scenes, to be honest. But I'm sure they're probably related around explosions or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll jump into some dislikes. Harder to find.
Yeah.
They're gonna be. I feel like it's safe to say they're gonna be a little bit more on the nitpicky side.
Yeah.
This goes as both a Easter egg, but as well as a nitpick at the same time, which is the 10 rings
Yep.
are referenced already, and
Yeah.
It's important because the 10 rings is related to the Mandarin, and the
Mhm.
Mandarin is a comic book villain to Tony Stark
Yep.
in a lot of the comics, and especially for me who grew up watching the 90s,
90s,
TV
yeah.
show, that was like the running villain.
Yep.
Was the
The most
Mandarin
reoccurring one.
with
Yeah.
the 10 rings, and he like has the rings get scattered every time he loses to Tony Stark, kind of like Team Rocket blasting off again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's in reference to a big villain
Mhm.
for Tony Stark. And I thought from a story perspective, it was very odd that they just relied on a camera that had no good view of what they're working on. And why wouldn't they just have a guy in the room with them as
Yeah.
because they gave Tony Stark a bunch of weapons to break apart to make another weapon. Did they not think the man, like, what happens if he just decided to just create a bomb that just blew up the whole cave they were in? There was no one in there that was going to stop him from
Yeah.
doing it. Like, even if he does it, they're like, oh, yeah, he's working on the missile. He could have made the Jericho missile and set it off right in there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a little convenient that no one's in there, as he's obviously making the Mark 1. So that's a big nitpick, but, you know, it is what it is. What do I say? When using the Mark III to destroy the weapons, what did I write here? Well, you'll have to cut this.
Feels like no. Oh no. I understand what you're saying, because when he makes the Mark III and he flies halfway around the world.
Oh yes, okay. The relation of time.
Yeah.
And this goes multiple ways. So we have it feels like no time passes for Tony going to destroy all when he first puts on the Mark III, which is, I guess we'll say, the finished suit in this movie.
Yeah.
He hops in the Mark III, goes to go destroy his weapons. I guess you never think about it, but Iron Man's in the same position the entire time he's going there. So that probably isn't comfortable, but also how long does it take? Not that that's important for us. This is why it's a nitpick, but he would be tired. Is he sleeping? Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
Anyways.
what is the speed of his suit?
Yeah. And along with speed, when we see Obadiah, he pays off people to kill Tony Stark, right?
Mm-hmm.
We find that out via Pepper. Well, we find that out via Pepper hacking, but we already had the idea as the audience, obviously. But he sees Pepper leave with Agent Coulson. You're telling me between the time that he sees Pepper leave, and note, Obadiah also goes to his engineer to be like, what's taking so long? Like, why can't you make this?
Yeah.
Tony Stark was able to make this in a cave with a box of scraps. He's able to do that whole shtick.
Yeah.
Pepper's already gone with Agent. She hasn't bothered to call Tony yet and been like, Obadiah tried to kill you. Like, he's the one who's behind all this stuff.
She's got to have a meeting with Phil Coulson first.
She does that whole meeting, and Obadiah is able to get to Tony's place and use the little
brain paralyzation device
to steal his arc reactor. Like, that was a bit questionable from a story perspective, because why wouldn't Pepper instantly call him and be like, yeah, this is going on? Because then Tony could have at least had Jarvis lock down his house.
Yeah. Because by the time Pepper Potts ends up calling Tony, he's not answering, so then she calls Rhodey, and then Rhodes goes and sees him, but obviously, yeah.
But that's because she calls him too late. She should have called him instantly.
Yeah, I agree.
Should have been like, hey, let's go, okay, and then like stepped aside from Phil Coulson and called.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was a big one, the teleporting of Obadiah.
Yep.
And then the last nitpick is this more is just like classic villains, like not having a good full plan. And it's Obadiah's plan is obviously to create these suits to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
Initially. Right? Initially his plan is to get rid of Tony Stark so he can just make more money. And just not even have Tony. But once Tony's made the suit, he's like, oh, we can make a ton of these and make a crap ton of money.
Yep.
Once people figure out what he's done, what is his plan? You know what I mean? Like, he's still in Stark Industries. You're gonna get a like even if you kill Pepper and Tony, like agents now know. Everyone knows what you've done. So
Yeah.
like, is your plan to kill all agents ever? So that was a bit questionable, but maybe, you can make the argument like he's hysterical at this point, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get away. I don't know, but I thought that was a bit.
That could be a fun what if.
Anyways, do you have any other dislikes?
Kind of similar ones to you. My like with the time thing didn't really make sense. I took it a step further. That was kind of nitpicky, but all I found was that it was very confusing how it took Tony a little bit to fully get the suit working, and then he flies it and he like crashes in the desert of it, right?
Yep.
And how easy it was
To take everything off,
Obadiah-
and
for Obadiah to just know exactly how to use the suit, start flying around the city,
Oh,
and
I see.
having
Like
all
he's
these.
never tested it or done
Yeah,
anything, and he's just like, oh yeah, I can do this.
Yeah, I can do this easy peasy, and he's like on the same level as Tony.
I thought you were gonna nitpick Tony in the Mark I landing in sand and had no injuries really.
Oh no! I was letting that one go. But yeah, just the fact that's like he was easily able to just get to know the suit within like moments.
Yeah.
Had the power, easy peasy, not an issue.
Yeah, valid.
And also like just the timing of Pepper finding out versus Stain showing up to Tony's house. How close is his house? That's on the corner
Yeah.
of like the water. How close is that to Stark Industries? How close is Stark Industries to the arc reactor? The giant one, I should say.
Yeah, like
And
the original one, yeah.
Yeah, like it's.
There's a lot of questions.
I want to know where this map is and
Yeah.
why is it a 2-minute walk?
Why is he teleporting?
Yeah.
Because he had time to not only
It's the secret
get
elevator.
to Tony's before, he had time to go yell at that engineer
Yeah, exactly.
beforehand.
Speaking of which, transitioning into favorite moments, I have 2 favorite moments. One of them is that line of Tony Stark built this in a cave
Iconic.
with scraps. Like, and I'm like,
With a
whoa.
box of
Yeah,
scraps.
and you're like, yes, great
Yeah,
moment.
That was iconic.
And then
I like the time, like looking back, because referencing things that people don't even necessarily care about anymore, like MySpace's reference instead of any other social
Yep.
media. We see what are cooler, futuristic looking phones with like the regular
This-
phone that like the screen flips
Yeah.
horizontally, and you're like, that's ugly. That's horrible.
like Galaxies.
But yeah, there are a few different other references to like current stuff at 2008 where you're just like, that's not even like a thing.
Not even
really
a thing
anymore.
anymore. Yeah. And
And
obviously,
then
the
my
biggest moment.
second is seeing Tony Stark hammer on the anvil, creating
Mark
the mask.
1, the first
Yeah,
ever
and
mask. Yeah.
If you ever seen the 90s TV show, that's literally like the opening is like, I am Iron Man, and it's him hammering and creating the Iron Man suits.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just like gives me like crazy nostalgia seeing that.
It's such a good shot.
Oh yeah. And then I think the other favorite moment, like more movie relevant, is when he takes the Mark III to destroy all of his old weapons. The first time you're seeing the real suit in action.
Yeah.
That was epic, killing the tank. I'll never forget
Oh,
when
yeah.
I
When he
saw this
walks
film.
away and just.
I'll never forget. I saw this film in theaters when it came out
Mhm.
in 2008. I'm going to age myself, but that was like when I was like 13 years old. And I remember there was a lady who laughed her ass off when Iron Man shoots his missile and
Yeah.
you just hear the ding and nothing happens. She laughed when she heard the ding. And then it blows up and everyone
That's
laughed
amazing.
at her. I would like to say they laughed with her, but they did not. They laughed
They
at
laughed at her. Yeah.
her. And that's like a core memory for me. I'll never forget that. And also just the scene of him returning with the jets, like that whole first look at the Mark III fighting and flying was just great. What a great sequence.
I would agree with that. Importance to the overall story of the MCU. Obviously, it's the beginning
It's
of
the
the
start.
MCU.
So we can't really say
If I have to,
too much.
yeah, the any things I could say that was like importance would be first appearance of Shield and Nick Fury.
Yep. The Shield, Nick Fury, and just someone who could be the face of superheroes.
Yeah.
Right? Because he openly says he is Iron Man. Jumping into Easter eggs. I didn't put down a huge list. I said like there's the 10 rings.
Yep.
This is more like a foreshadow / Easter egg, which is when Obadiah literally says he's like, we're ironmongers. And I was like, and then obviously Rhodes is next time,
Next time.
baby.
Except
Obviously,
it wasn't next time
yeah,
for him.
hinting at War Machine.
Yeah, he still did good though. I think.
Was there any other Easter eggs you noticed? Obviously, you're a lot more
I'm a
crazy
little
when
bit
it
more.
comes to it. So.
Yeah. The other big one would obviously Stan Lee cameo, as
Yes, of
always.
course.
That one's it. And then the only other big one that I could catch right away was in the Middle East after he defeats and he's flying away, and Rhodey calls him. He's like, "If that's you, like, you got to tell us." And then he's like, "No, no, it's not me. I'm driving," or "No, I'm going for a hike," or whatever, right? And then he hangs up, and then he calls him back. Rhodey's ringtone is the original Iron Man show theme song.
Oh, okay,
It's a
that's good.
It's
Yep.
the first ever Iron Man theme song.
And obviously, like we
So-
mentioned, the hammering was I'm
A
assuming
reference
reference
to-
to some of the other
yeah.
past stuff. So very cool. Just dive before we kind of wrap things up. I do want to say that honestly, Terrence Howard was great. I might actually like him.
I think Terrence Howard did a really good job.
I thought they wrote the character really well. There's obviously different takes of the character, right?
Yeah.
Like Don Cheadle, I think he's a great actor.
he plays it more serious.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like he's more. I can believe he got to his rank. When I'm looking at Don Cheadle and he's like very serious, I'm like, okay, it makes sense that Rhodes got to this level
Yeah.
of within the military. I'm like, okay, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
With
Terrence
Howard, he comes off more like what Rhodes feels like more of like Tony's buddy.
Yeah, it's like he has a buddy cop relationship with Tony for
So
sure.
it's a shame that Terrence Howard. I mean, there was a lot of rumors of him just not being
Good.
that great a person and
he
asking for
wanted
a lot
more
of money.
because
But
I digress.
I think it would have been nice to see him
Yeah.
be able to do the character throughout because he was quite enjoyable. But
Could you imagine if they brought him back for like Doomsday of like a multiverse of
be pretty crazy.
like War Machine, or like
But
if
that being said,
he,
I like Don Cheadle as well.
Don Cheadle's
They're both
phenomenal,
they
so-
both bring different things to the characters. I thought that chemistry felt really good between him and RDJ for the like quippiness of. And I do think Rhodes is a little like he's more serious than Tony in a lot of ways, but he does give that more hey, like I'm buddies with Tony Stark kind of vibe
for sure.
where our current Rhodes in the MCU feels more like he's a babysitter for Tony a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean we see that in Iron Man 2 a lot, but we'll
Get there when we get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, post credit scenes. Nick Fury's first appearance within the MCU, second appearance overall as Nick Fury in live action, right?
Yep, yeah. So the first ever appearance of Nick Fury is 1984, David Hasselhoff.
And the importance of this is he talks about the Avengers Initiative and potential for recruiting Tony, which means who are the other Avengers? Who are we going to see? And we will get with that in
I
the
want to
next
take
following
it
weeks.
a second further, where one of the reasons why Samuel Jackson plays Nick Fury is because in the Ultimate Universe of comics, back when they started like the soft reboot alternate universe in comics, Nick Fury was modeled after Samuel Jackson. So when Samuel Jackson heard that, he's like, "Listen, if there's ever a live action appearance of him, like it's me. I'm casted." Like he made the decision. He's like, "It will be me," kind of thing. And man, I am happy that they went forward with that.
And he looks great. And then that's Iron Man 1.
That's Iron Man.
It was
You got any extra
fantastic.
thoughts before we wrap up?
Extra thoughts, like I mentioned, just be interested to see Rhodey 1 stay as the same actor, but also what if we saw the buddy cop of Rhodey and Tony right off the rip already being Iron Man and War Machine, and we had War Machine throughout the whole.
Yeah.
Just because they're such an iconic duo, right? It's always them two, so it would have been cool, I think. But that's it.
That's fair. I think for me, the only extra thought is with this movie doing as well as it did, it became an outline for a lot of other superhero movies. So if you take the core root of this film where your main character has this ability, build something technological, and your villain is someone trying to replicate that and try to do better of it,
And then add jokes.
that is Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, partially Iron Man 3, Ant-Man, The Incredible Hulk, Blue Beetle. Those are the ones I'm thinking of on the
Blue
top
Beetle
of my
has a
head.
little bit more, obviously, to do with family and stuff too. But
yeah, but it's the core thing, and sometimes that
and you could
story
argue
hits,
that
sometimes
potentially,
it
yeah,
doesn't.
this is what people have grown tired of.
Yeah.
This formula,
This
the
cookie
formula that
cutter-
Iron Man perfected.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, check out next week as we look into the next film, which is
The Incredible
The Incredible
Hulk.
I'm a little scared.
I'm excited.
I'm a little scared.
But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you whenever next week.
Yeah, next
this
week.
nice one.
And make sure to comment below. What did you guys think of Iron Man? Is it one of your favorite MCU films? And if not, let us know why it's not.
Exactly. Until then, thanks.